Okay. I am trans. That means that I was not always this pillar of divine beauty that we see before us. I used to be a grungy little bugger by the name of. Uh, I was born a normal, chunky baby. I was the easy kid. My brother had a lot more health issues, a lot more problems. Me, I was perfect, of course. I've always been pretty femme for the most part. Basically, since I was able to choose gendered things. When I was able to pick my first pair of underwear, I wanted pink girls' underwear. I used to have a Barbie that I would carry around with me everywhere. And then at some point, I forgot that. Maybe it was during the 2008 housing crisis. We moved around a whole bunch during this time because my parents had divorced. Basically, for most of my life, I didn't really have that strong a connection to my feminine side. Basically, age 7 through high school, I had no concept that that was who I was. It was about when I was 15 or so that I started experimenting with more feminine clothing. Now, a lot of stories you'll hear from other trans people are that they started experimenting with their mother's clothes or maybe their sister's clothes. Me, not so much because my mother is not very femme. And also, I didn't want her to know. And also, I was a good boy. I didn't want to steal things from my mom. So, what I would do instead is I would take a pair of scissors to any type of clothes that I wouldn't wear, like old sweatpants, old t shirts, old underwear, and I would make myself whole outfits until one day, the summer after I turned 18, I decided I was going to take the money that I had gotten from my job at the time and I was going to buy clothes. I walked a mile and a half from my house to this shopping mall. Before entering Target, I stopped at Maurice's. And walking in, one of the clerks walked up to me and said, "Is there anything I can help you with?" And me, being the suave and vastly intelligent person I was, said, "Yes, I'm looking for uh, underwear for my girlfriend." Now, I wasn't the most virginal looking kid. I didn't look like a dweeb or anything. But I certainly wasn't an Adonis. She probably knew, judging by the everything, but she was like, "I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of stuff here. You're probably gonna have to stop at Target." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do that." And there, of course, being terrified to wander the women's section, instead, I decided I'm going to run through the lingerie section and pick myself up two things: underwear and fishnet stockings. You know, the important stuff. And I tried to blaze out of that store as quickly as possible because I forgot to mention I worked at that Target. Upon getting home, I changed into all of it, and I had never felt quite like that. The pandemic was an incredibly formative time for me. I imagine a lot of people had a similar experience. Well, relatively so. I did basically nothing. But the most important thing is that May 2023, I realized that something needed to change. I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to college, talked to my doctor about hormone therapy. She said, "I can do that for you, but only if you speak to somebody just to make sure that that's right for you." I was like, sure, whatever I need to do. Nothing is too big a price to pay for moving on with my life, for breaking myself out of that stagnation. And a few months later, I began my transitioning process, and it's sort of had its ups and downs. I have been on hormones for an entire year now. I'm happier than I've ever been, and as stressed out as some of my classes make me. And though I may fall into the occasional bout of existential dread, I wouldn't really change anything. I wouldn't trade it for a thing. I always used to fall into thinking of all the things that I could have done differently, but then I think if I had done that, if I had gone to school immediately out of high school, or if I had begun my transition earlier, or if I had made friends with different people, I wouldn't be at the place I am now. I wouldn't be friends with the people I am friends with, and I wouldn't be doing all the things I'm doing now. And for the most part, that sounds like a more depressing state than anything I could be experiencing now. So I'm happy to be here. Getting home from my mom's place earlier today, I realized that my apartment had gotten pretty messy. And overall, I guess it's just nice to do a little house cleaning.